now. An improvement certainly over the way it was. You've got a WW root that makes it very easy to see a lot of the static elements of your application. It has a brand new references experience. It has the ability to show you references grouped in a way that before this was kind of overwhelming to see which packages it dependent on and such. So kind of very, very nice experiences there. And there's a whole brand new, NuGet package manager experience. I mean, we can just go on and on to try to explain it. But one of the biggest highlights that I wanted to show is that now we've included both Bower and NPM as part of the Visual Studio experience. And this allows folks to use these popular tools that are command line tools as part of the Visual Studio, never leave to the command prompt if you don't want to kind of experience, and still take advantage over the ability to run tasks against these various libraries, minification. I mean, it's, again, no way to do justice in a couple of minutes, but think of ASP.NET 5 as the container for all that good stuff, right? So you have a lot of kind of words that are being thrown at you, and as you learn about them, you might create a traditional project and be like, where's Bower? I thought you included Bower. Well, you have to go to ASP.NET 5. So that's very cool. Now, another thing that I want to show in regards to it is you've got quite a bit. Let me go into properties here. You've got a bunch of more options now under file new project, under properties in your project, and that is to select the type of framework that you're going to target. So eventually, this will allow you to go in and switch to .NET Core. So for now, you're going to be running against the .NET full framework, but because this is a beta, like there's multiple components, right? There's the ASP.NET, there's the tooling, and then there's the .NET Core, and those are all being built in parallel. The tooling's been RTM'd, the framework is beta 5, and the core that runs cross-platform is still being developed. It's kind of in an earlier state, but we hope end of year kind of everything catches up. So ASP.NET 5 is really awesome. They're improving performance quite a bit. They're working on making this fully integrated at RTM with a lot of the experiences we already are associating with ASP.NET, like we talk about application insights, making sure that's integrated, the full debugging, IntelliTrace, lots of things that don't work today will work at RTM. So there's an awesome story there. I wish we were further along because I'm super excited to play with it, but folks can start today. And some crazy people are running it in production, but I don't recommend that. You can always be crazy in life.
Well, it gives you time to investigate it and learn about it, while also being able to continue building your existing apps.
Yes.
And you could even create brand new ones with the new model. You kind of get to decide.
Yes, for sure.
How quickly and when you want to adopt this.
Cool. So the other top feature that I want to talk about outside of ASP.NET is a lot of the Roslyn capabilities that are now added into Visual Studio IDE for managed languages and other things. So let me give you guys some examples of what that's like. The first thing I want to show is, I'll give you an example. Let's open up this Bower. So you have the ability in ASP.NET 5 to configure your dependencies using JSON files. In fact, that's the way it works, right? So now we have as one of the new features, a fully fledged IntelliSense-enabled JSON editor. So it's very powerful. But one of the things I want to show is that you're going to start seeing little light bulbs in your application all over the place. Here's one of these light bulbs inside of a JSON file. At the same time, let me go ahead and open up just any C# file to show you that that experience is going to be very similar. Let me give you something with unused. Second.
The one you had open.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, Dimitri, don't close what you're doing now. I know where it is here, the sample data. So we've got things like this. I think I already cleaned it up. That's why. That's probably why it's being so nice. Sure, we have one that's not as nice.
What was the first one you had open?
Yeah, but I think I cleaned it up and saved it. So here it is. Here's one example. So now you're getting a light bulb inside of your C#. So these light bulbs are basically quick actions. So whenever we talk about, hey, use the quick action to do something, that's light bulb experience. And the quick actions are very cool because they allow Roslyn, which is the underlying platform, to enable UI experiences in Visual Studio that are much richer and much more hands-on to your code, right? So instead of this being theoretical, this is the compiler. So it knows whatever it's telling you is really true. These really are usings that we can clean up, they're not being used. This really is the change it's going to do. Yes, it will build after this change. So there's a bunch of guarantees that come up, not to mention a nicer UI experiences with the ability to commit things at the document project solution levels and get all the previews. So in this case, you got this sort of experience.
Control dot is the keyboard shortcut.
Yeah.
And Control dot enter brings it up and executes it at the same time.
Yeah, and then if you go back to what I wanted to demonstrate here in this file, so here we've actually got the ability to like open the home page of Knockout. So in some cases you'll get like update is available. Hey, update this this component of your app. So you as a developer can extend this also any way you want. So developers can come in and say, hey, we want to take our own sort of pane and create a quick view that solves it for our development team, and you can package it up in a NuGet package and ship it out. So it's very, very cool experience. So I think Rosalind's kind of quick actions are super powerful. At the same time, as a third feature that I really love, it's the debugging experience, the perf tips that we've added. So I'm going to close out all these windows. Come on, you can do it. My machine is like going slow. I'm running multiple versions of Visual Studio's emulators, a lot to show you guys. So I'm going to go to sample data here, and I'm going to put a couple of breakpoints. I know this runs every single time, so I'm going to put some breakpoints at different parts of the app here, and I'm going to go ahead and set the startup to be the web project. Set a startup and run this. So what I'm about to show you is how we've taken the normal debug experience, the out of the box. Like what I'm about to show you is not something you have to go enable, like it's enabled for you if you have 2015. So here's a bunch of experiences that make, I think, your debugging experience richer out of the box. Now, if you decide to turn them off, there are option switches to do so. You might say, Dimitri, that was great, but I think it does X, Y, Z, and I don't like it. Turn it off. We do give you that option. So let's go back to VS and show you what's going to happen here. So first of all, I'm going to mention very briefly that now there's quite a bit. Since I have Enterprise, I have IntelliTrace running, so I can see events happening, and just because I'm using Visual Studio, I've got process and CPU utilization. This is all now running out of the box. That means that when I'm debugging against ASP.NET, I can now see how my CPU is performing, memory, and against the same timeline. So you can correlate a particular event to a particular CPU spike and be like, oh, that's why that took a long time, you know, or something like that. So you've done a ton of shows on this and lots of great things. But one of my favorite features, just because it's so damn easy and so damn valuable, is when I go to like the next breakpoint. So now that I've gone between breakpoints, I will get an indicator of elapsed time. Yep. So this is something called perf tips, and it's super awesome. I mean, how many times have I put a timer or something in my code? You've done it. I've done it.
Another thing that you've put in the code.
Another thing that you hope isn't now the thing.
Right.
Oh, did you clean it up? Have you ever left one of those timers in
Of course.
I might have.
Of course.
I'm not going to admit where though. I'm a good developer, unlike you. I would never do that. So I think that's very awesome. So those are just some of my tips in terms of the Roslyn and the perf tips, and the final sort of like managed code tip that I'm going to give before we move on to other things is the fact that CodeLens is now in Pro. Yes. So CodeLens, we've done a ton of shows about it. But here is a real project. This project is connected to Visual Studio Online, where me and the team, we sat down, we worked in it for a bunch of days. And therefore, we have history in our Git repository in Visual Studio Online. So I'm able to go in, and I'm going to go and show you guys what that looks like and how that's been actually quite helpful in the real project. And we are certainly not making this up. So for this one, I will show under View Models, I will show Task View Model. The reason why is because there's a bunch of changes from different people here. So CodeLens, take a step back. CodeLens is your sort of around the class or around the method indicator or on the file level in certain places, where it shows you additional information that's coming mostly from TFS or Visual Studio Online. So you have to have a certain version of TFS on premises, or you have to be on VSO. One thing that comes out of the box is references. So it just knows, hey, these are the things that are referencing your item. But since I'm connected to Visual Studio Online, I can actually go ahead and see that a bunch of my teammates were working on this project. And I can see when they had activity, who they are. I can go ahead and take a look at the offers and the changes that they made and the comments they put in. And this was really helpful. Let me explain why. So we brought together 3 or 4 different like product teams of engineers that didn't work together normally to build an app. So you had multiple days where people were like, you're Dimitri, right? You know, people didn't know who each other were, but as they were working in code, they would often share a certain class, and one person would work on it, and another person would come in because they realized, oh, I need to add something, and they didn't know who worked in it. You know, maybe in a real team where it's not like a hackathon environment, you kind of know who's working on what. But when you have a large team, a distributed team, or a new team, or you're coming to legacy code, you know, this is super useful.
Yep. And
we're making it available in Pro. So as much as
Very cool.
I can demo the heck out of this feature, I think the biggest thing is that developers that get Pro now get it, and I hope they find it really useful.
Which means that it's in community?
No.
Okay.
It is not in community.
It's in Pro.
Yes,
not
it's in
community.
Pro.
Okay.
So you have to buy
Important
Pro or
distinction.
above, and you could buy Pro standalone, Visual Studio Online, or you can buy some higher end SKU. We certainly hope people check out Enterprise. Okay. Now the next demo that I'm going to do out of the same solution is I'm going to show an Apache Cordova app.